Hey, what's up, everybody? Let's talk about the price of XRP right now. Look at this. Let's talk about a couple ideas. First of all, we're consolidating, right? Looks like we have like some kind of bullish pennant going on here. So maybe a little bit of a tightness and then a break. Which way is it going to break? Well, statistically, probability when you get a breakout, right? 70% chance you break to the upside. If we look at it from a pennant. If it's not a pennant, then we can say, well, what if we have A, B, and then C? We have a running flat here. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We go sideways, then we break out. Perfect. What if, so that would be the main idea, right? Which is rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and go. The other idea, which is almost as probable, is this whole thing is about to break out like this. It's a B wave. So this would be your A. This whole thing we would get up here, and this would be a B. And then we would have to go into a C, or a bigger C, or an expanded flat. So expanded flat, regular flat, running flat for your C, right? But there's no point in really talking about that just yet, because we'll just take things, one step at a time. But that is a possibility if we do get up here. So we're gonna have to see how it moves up. If it moves up, what if it doesn't move up? What if it continues to kind of come down? Well, then I'm going to look at this as an A. I'm going to say that this was a B, right? And then it's kind of like a 1 2 1 2, kind of play around a little bit. But I don't even like it as a 1 2, because this wick took that high. So I would then look at it like, okay, you got 3 down, you got 3 up, right? Maybe you get 1 2 3 4 5 down for a C. So in other words, simply put, it's an A, B, C, right? That's the idea. But since we're going sideways here, it kind of leaves the question mark. Well, maybe it's a running flat. So let's take a look at a fractal back in the day, right? So back in the day, actually, you can kind of see something similar, right? Where you had that run up, big crash, 3-way move up, 3-way move up. And then what did we do? We came back down, and then we kind of went sideways in here, right? And then we eventually broke out. You can kind of see right here, pump and then dump. Pump and then dump. Actually, let me put this chart more like on a smaller time frame so we can get a little bit more clarity there. Okay, so yeah, that's a good fractal there. Another fractal is actually right here, right? So first of all, you can see, right, we broke out of a range that was down in here. We flew to the upside. Same thing here. Our range was down here. We flew to the upside. And now we have something similar, just like we had back, I think that was April of 2021. Yeah, April of 2021. You can see what we did here, right? Which is, we had that initial dump, right? We came up, and then we came back down. We kind of went sideways a little bit. Came up, kind of going sideways a little bit. So you have that same sort of rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways type of look to it, right? So we got the big breakout. Big question is, do we get the breakout? So there you go. That's kind of what I'm looking at for XRP. If it's going to follow the fractal, is there confluence in the fractal? Yes, there is, which is the running flat, right? So yeah, it looks solid for a running flat. I do see 3 down, I see 3 up, and then maybe we get 1, 2, and 3 back down, something like that, where we kind of take the low and then sort of continue higher, right? Something like that. If not, then we want to see this low hold, right? So yeah, it looks great for a pennant. I mean, on one hand, you can say, you know, we kind of already broke out a little bit here, right? And we broke out when we came here. Now we're sort of testing it. But if you're a little bit more conservative, we try to fit all the lines there. And there we go. So the measured move approximately would be, I would do it from this low here up to about the bottom. And then I would put that right there, and that would give us, wow, $1.77 in the house. Okay, that's one way you can measure it. Another way you can measure it is just by the pennant itself. And then we'll go back and we'll look at the fractal and see exactly where that went. That's about $1.35. So from that perspective, all right. So now let's take a look at the fractal. So again, we're kind of looking at it for 2 different ways. You got a pennant there and you got a little one there, right? So if you look at it from a little pennant perspective, a bullish pennant, right? And then I take the flagpole there and then I raise it up. You can see we actually went even higher than that, right? So if I put it a little bit higher and then I take this down here, some people like to measure it from the top. I like to measure it from the bottom, just to be a little bit more conservative, right? So I have a little bit more wiggle room when I'm trading. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like my minimum. But, you know, you can measure it from there, right? Which should give you, look at that, pretty perfect right there, I would say. All right, and let's take a fib retracement from here down to here. And look at that, we hit the 4.236. Okay, so knowing what we know now, let's go back over here and look at it from the same sort of perspective. The tricky part is trying to figure out where to put this flagpole. So this right here was the beginning. This is the whole wave. So that's where I'm going to measure it from. So I'm going to take it from here, and this time I'm going to go all the way to the top. Right there. Right? So that's our pennant. And then I'm going to take this, put it right there. All right. But before we look at the price, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fib retracement. Remember, the other one hit the 4.236 extension. So let's see if these line up. Look at that. Perfect. Wow, look at that. So you have the 4.236 extension and you have the measured move, and it was the same exact thing what happened back in the day, way back in the day. So that was April 2021. Look at that. Bullish pennant, hit the 4.236 extension, and just barely missed the measured move, but it was right in the same vicinity. All right, perfect. So so that gives us, again, that would give us a target of about $2. So I'll tell you right now, if we hit $2, it's game on. It's game on. But you know why? Because I don't really see any more resistance after that. I mean, really, the main areas is between $1.30 and $1.60. So that's right there. I'm sorry, $1 to $1.60. Okay, that's the main area, right? Once we break through that, and where's $2 and what was it, $2.10? So right around there. So yes, it's certainly possible we can come up and we can, this flag's out in here, right? We have an A, B, C, a running flat, right? Just like the fractal, we get up here, maybe pull back a little bit, and then hit that $2.09 mark. So you looked at the conservative look, and then you looked at more of the, I guess you could say, liberal look. So, but yeah, if we break this zone, then there's nothing else except the all-time high, right? And then you sort of have this gray zone right here, but it's really nothing. It's really, there's really nothing there, right? There's no real overhead resistance above $1.60, $1.70. So once we crack that, once we crack these two little things right there, I mean, the floodgates are going to open, in my opinion. I could be wrong, right? This could go to zero and you can lose all your money. Not financial advice, but let's just be real here for a minute. This is the biggest crypto triangle in the world, bigger than anything that crypto has ever created. It is also the biggest contracting triangle in crypto history. It is the biggest consolidation base in crypto history. It is the longest downward resistance line in crypto history, right? Relative to the top 10, even top 20, right? So you can see the same thing transpiring right now. So if we look at it from a pennant perspective, right? Let's take all that off now. Just curious where we hit the last time. So if I just kind of drag this out a little bit, you can kind of see where we are there, right? And then if I take a line from here all the way down, right? And then I take this and I put it right there. That's the breakout line. Oh my God. That's a $38, basically a $40 XRP. Is it going to hit $40? Man, that would be insanity. I don't think so. I mean, anything's possible, but I just can't see it. I mean, it's technically there, but let's do a couple other measurements here. But even if it was going to hit 40, you're not supposed to talk about it, right? Anything over $10 XRP target, you're not supposed to talk about it, right? It's frowned upon to even suggest anything over $10, right? But if we take this and we go up to about, I mean, if you could just take that, that's like, there's your 589 target. Maybe that's where the 589 came from, Maybe, right? If you take if you look at this from a pennant perspective, right? And then you take your flagpole right here and you go all the way up to the top. Whoops, let me do it one more time. From the bottom, I'm not going to use the wick, all the way to the top. And you know what? I won't even, well, let's go to the top first. And let's get rid of these guys. And then I'll take this and I'm going to put it right exactly where we're kind of breaking out right there. So that gives us a target of, look at that, basically 589. Somewhere in there. Let's see. Pretty dang close. Pretty dang close. Is that why 579? Is that where the 589 XRP number comes from? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, oh my God. $589 XRP. That's just outrageous. If it happens, I'll be completely dumbfounded, because I just never in a million years would ever think, unless something massive comes out, like a partnership with the Fed or something huge. But let's just be realistic here. Okay. What's a more realistic target? Well, if we take it from the bottom and then we just drag it to the top here, that's only half the size of the previous bull run, right? That's only half the size. And that brings us up to about $25. So that's more likely, obviously, $25. And if I'm even more conservative than that, I could take this line up to there. Remember, things are on log scale. It's different. And then I put it right there. And then I look at it. That's about a $14 XRP. So about almost 15 bucks. So I would say, this is the whole bull run, 2017. This is one piece. This is another piece. And this is another piece. It's broken up into 3 different pieces. If we just take one of these pieces and put it all the way here, just 1/3 of the previous bull run, that would get you up to $14. And for an asset that has not yet broken out, that has not yet didn't go on the 2021 bull run, has been artificially suppressed, has been pretty much, gunned down from the start in regards to the SEC, right? If you look at the SEC positioning Ethereum and things like that. So, and anytime XRP starts to knock on the door of an Ethereum market cap, that's when the floodgates come out against it, right? And if you compare XRP market cap to Ethereum market cap, and line them all up, you'll see what I mean. But maybe we'll do that soon. But anyways, you got 3 pieces of the previous bull cycle. All right. So all I'm saying is, isn't it possible to just get one of these pieces? Just one, right? That would be $14. All right. If it was 2 pieces, so from here, and I'm just doing ballpark, I'm not going to get it exactly on the right dot, but you can see that comes in at about $62, right? So if it's 2/3, right? So if it's 1, 2, if it's 2/3 of the bull run, we would see $60, right? And again, if it was a complete, basically a double, a complete move from the last cycle, we would see basically just say $600, right? Which is absolutely insanity. I just can't see that. All right, so those are a couple targets we can see. All right, well let's be even more conservative. Let's take another target. So what I can do is I can take it from the bottom here to the top, and this should be the bare minimum we should hit, the minimum. And that comes in about $13, $12 to $13, right? So does it mean it has to happen this cycle? I mean, you would think so, right? I just can't really see it being in the next cycle. I mean, $8 to $15 is, I think, a good number to have. Anything beyond that, I mean, you just play with house money at that point. So, for example, if you invest $10,000 and we shoot up, take your $10,000 out, and then you let the rest ride with house money. Or take $10K out plus pay yourself 20% and then play with the house money, right? So anyways, those are the targets. If we look at this as a pennant, right, for example, and we take a line from here down to here, and then I take that line and I put it right there, that's about where we went. We actually went a little bit higher, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same line and I'm going to put it right there. Just trying to see what targets come up, right? To see if there's any confluence with anything. That's about a $20 XRP. So we saw $10, we saw $20, we saw $60, we saw $600. You know what I mean? So that's why all these people have these different targets, and I'm telling you, that's how people interpret it. But for me, I try to, I'm giving all of them to you and making you decide, what do you believe? Don't let me tell you. I already told you what I think, and I'm thinking between 8 and 15. I think that's reasonable, unless if we have a big partnership or something gets announced, maybe we can go higher, right? We'll see. So another thing we can do is we can look at a fib, obviously, right? And that gives us the confluence to that $10 to $13 area. If we take a fib from back in the day, you can see we essentially blew right past it, right? So we got all the way up to the 4.236, and that's basically we consolidated and then we hit the high, right? So that would be the equivalent of XRP getting to the 4.236 extension, say about maybe right around there, right? And then we kind of play around a little bit, and then we hit the top, right? We have this sort of move. Now, how high did that go? Or let's see if we can figure that out. So if I take a retracement from here down to there, look at that. We went way beyond the 4.236 on that final fifth wave. So if we look at it through log scale, sorry guys, my internet's a little laggy today. It was about the 3. So let's just be conservative and we'll say 2 instead of 3. All right. So then we come back over here, and let's say we had a little bit of a retracement from here down. I mean, come on. That's $30 right there. So that's two $30 pieces of confluence. So is it going to hit 30? I don't know. There's no way to know. There's no real way to know. We can use measurements, but you can measure things from different things and look at different things. It's all, at the end of the day, just kind of, it's gauging an idea of what it could be, right? For example, if I put this on linear scale, right, and I took the flagpole from the bottom here up to the top, right? And then let's say, you know, we've broken out of it, obviously, right? And then I take this and I put it right there. Well, that only gets us to about $4, right? So if you look at it from that perspective, you can get $4. Well, so then it's like, well, what's the right way to do it? Well, the right way, there's no real right way to do it. It's all about, for me, it's Fibonacci, number one. Number two, then it comes down to measurements. But above all that, it's wave structure, right? So like I've been saying, you're not going to get a super accurate target until you have the wave structure. And so far I have a 1, I flagged out for a 2, and now I'm in the third. Either we're going to get a 4 and a 5, and then flag out for a bigger 2, like a 1, 2, and then set sail for number 3. And then I can measure 1 down to 2 to get an accurate third. But we need to see it. We need to see the structure, and so far I can only go based on what I have, right? So if I look at it from, well, yeah, let's do it from that perspective, from here down to here, and let me throw that back on linear. We already hit the 1618, just about, on linear scale, right? So that 4.236 comes in at 272, right? Remember, we had a $2.10 target from that pennant, from that flagpole. So I would say between $2 and $3 is going to be interesting. That's going to be where the levee breaks. So remember that Led Zeppelin song? If it keeps on raining, you know, I can't remember what it was, but it reminded me of that. But yeah, man, this has been a journey, and we've been talking about it forever. Look at this. And that was the signature, and that's what kept me going. If you want to know what kept me in the game, it's that right there. That move told me to chill out. It told me to stay confident. It told me to stay planted. Right? And then when we got the impulse, that's when it got really exciting. And then when we started flagging out, I said, it's any day now, right? And either this was a 1-2-1-2 or this was a flat, which it clearly was. We got the breakout. We're chilling right here at the retracement levels. This retracement block, we have a crash, we have a retrace, right? So between here and here, that's going to be the big area to get through. So, is there any other targets? Well, we could take a trend-based from here to here, down to here, and you can see we hit the 1618 and beyond that, and the next one would be between 165 and $2 if that third wave is still in play, right? So you could see the first wave was 1, 2, 3 candles, 3 green candles. We have 1, 2, 3 green candles. Just pointing that out. Let's go back to the 4-hour chart. All right, let's go back to some other ideas. What else could it be? Well, if it's not a pennant where we break out, then I'm looking at this as an A, a B, and now we're working our way down for a C. Or, like I said earlier, this is going to come hit the top, and then we work our way down for a C, A, B, C, right? And then go. Something like that. So, but like I said, if we go back in time, we've seen this before where we didn't have to come down and back test, or we didn't have to come down and do a complete retrace, right? So this was looking like an A, B, and a C. But since we were chilling right in here, and then we started breaking, you can see a little bit of a cup, a little bit of a handle, and then bam, that's where it broke out of. So, and we already did the measurement. That was a full 4.236 extension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So what I can do is I can measure this from the bottom of this wave to the top, back down to the bottom, and you can see this third wave actually went beyond the 1618. So I would actually put the 2 on there, a little bit shy, so in between the 1618 and the 2. Okay, so if we go back over here, what I can do now is do the same thing from the bottom to the top, back down to the bottom. And where does the 2 get us? About $1.46. So that could be our next stop, guys, between 137 and 146. That should be our next area of interest. All right, so that's pretty much it for XRP. I just, look, I threw out some crazy numbers. That doesn't mean I'm endorsing those numbers. I'm just giving you sort of an idea of how people come up with these crazy numbers, right? And maybe they're real, maybe they're not. I don't know. I'm letting you decide that. But that's how people get it. They take measurements, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But the best measurement you can get is a trend-based Fibonacci extension. Most people don't even know how to use a trend-based Fib extension. They just use a regular extension. So this is your regular extension, right? Your retracement extension. So you notice how it says retrace. This is a trend-based extension, meaning you're trying to figure out the target. This is trying to figure out where it could retrace to. This is trying, if you're trending like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you want to know where the third wave's going to stop, you take this and you measure it from the bottom to the top, back down to the bottom. So you have 3 points of measurements, right? You have the length of this wave, you have the retrace of the wave, and then you're measuring out the third wave. So that's what I'm saying. Like, people ask, well, where do you think Theta can go? Where do you think this can go? I don't know until I have the wave structure, right? So there's no need to know right now. All we have to know is it's going to be a lot higher than where it should be, right? So, you can even do it like this. Like, let's say that was the bottom. I could take a trend-based Fib extension from the bottom of this wave to the top, and then back down to the bottom, and a 1618 extension. If this is a wave 1, right, there's your 1. And here's your pullback, then you should see the third wave should come out to the 1618, right around $4.62. But again, there's no guarantee that this correction's over. We could still pull back a little bit further down, in which case I would just pull it down a little bit more, right? So let me go up to the daily. So, but the way I'm looking at it is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And where's the 5th gonna go? Well, according to what we just looked at, right, the last time we hit a full 4.236 extension, which comes in at $2.10. So what I'm gonna do, watch this. If this is wild speculation, but it's actually not. If you let's take this here, and we'll say that's 1, 2, this is 3. We're flagging out for a 4, because remember, if you look over here, look at how big wave 2 is. We don't want it to get out of proportion of how big wave 2 is. So wave 4 shouldn't be too big, too much bigger, right? So, and then our 5th would be up here. Boom. All right. So then I can get rid of that. So somewhere up in there will be a good spot. Okay, so then this is how we're going to do it. If this is the case, right? So let's say we have our little pennant here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And remember, we'll get more accurate targets as we get up here, because then what I'll do is I'll measure the first down to the second, and then we can get the third. I can measure the bottom of the third to the top of the third to the bottom of the fourth, so that we can get the fifth. You see what I mean? Most people won't explain that to you. They'll just give one number and that's it. No, you have more. You can fine tune your targets as you get closer to it. The closer, it's like if you're out, hunting for geese or whatever, like, are you going to be more accurate further away? Are you going to be more accurate the closer you are, right? The closer you are, to the bullseye, the easier it is to hit the bullseye. I mean, you know what I mean? But if you're so far away from it, you can miss. You know what I mean? So, but, that's kind of the way I look at it. So we get that, right? Let's say we get up there to a fifth wave, and then we have an A, B, C, right? We have a big correction like that. Okay, so then what I would do is I would take a trend-based fib extension like we just did. I would take it from the bottom of wave 1 to the top of wave 5, which is not even here yet, back down to the bottom. Maybe we go down to, I would imagine, about $1.30, right? So that is going to give us the real target. All right, and what target is that? Should I show us, or should I wait for a members video? Let's do it. Let's see where it can go. Let's see. All right, look at that, $14.50. So that's how I come up with my numbers, right? But again, those numbers aren't going to be entirely accurate until we have the fifth and until we have the ABC. We might not even get the fifth. We might not even get it, right? We could come all the way back down and retest, 70, 80 cents before breaking out. And then I would have to measure it completely different, right? That's why we have to, it's kind of like we have to just wait until we have a clear, identifiable 5-wave structure, right? So, but that's kind of, I got the fifth wave. I'm showing you my work. It's like when you're in math class and you give your teacher the math test or whatever, and then she says, no, you have to show your work, right? You have to show exactly how you got to those numbers. Well, I just did. I showed you how I got to 5. I show you how I got to the fifth, right? When we looked at the previous fractal, we look at the previous breakout structure, right? Way back in the day here. Right? And it's basically the same kind of thing here, right? Which is what? We were ranging forever, and then we finally broke out, and then we had this pennant, same thing what we had now, and then we had that final extension. So using that, that's how we came up with the $2.10 area. And then if you take the $2.10 area and you measure it from the bottom to the $2.10 area back down to wherever that ABC is going to be, I'm thinking about $1.30, $1.15. That's usually where. So wherever we correct, right? It might be even a shallow retracement. We don't really know. I could be conservative and say $12. I could be more liberal and say, $15. So it's right in the same sort of realm as a regular extension, as a regular 4.236. So anyways, I thought that was a fun little exercise we did. So yeah, that's basically it for XRP. Look at that, 40 minutes, only XRP. Let's look at the small time frames and let's see what we got here. All right, we're pumping up a little bit here. We're getting a little bit of a pump here. Yeah, there's not really much on this here except for what we already looked at, right? This to me, right, looks obviously corrective. So I feel like this should break out. 3, 3, and we should get something like that. And then once we get there, then we can look at it and think, okay, is this, for example, a 1, a 2, and now we're going to go up like 3, 4, and 5, and then we flag out and then go even higher? Or is it going to look like this, where it's just like a three-way move, and then we start getting rejected? Boom, 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 and then we have that more room to the downside. Because there's really two ideas, right? Which is, you know, a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, and we creep out of here, or this is going to be an ABC and then we go. So all of that's going to affect our measurements. All right, let's keep moving on. We'll go to Bitcoin and then we'll go to Theta. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin still moved up, right? It still hit the top. Looks very corrective. So here's the thing. Like the last video I said, either this is 3, 3, and 3, and that's finished. That's your correction. And this is a 1, 2, and that's a 1, 2, and that's a 1, 2, and that's a 1, 2. We're gonna creep, and then break out, like going beyond 100K. The way it looks to me, we're gonna go way higher, or not way higher, but pretty significantly higher, above 100K, just the way it looks. So yeah, it's definitely creeping up here, right? So that's the first idea, where we're just gonna creep up and break out. The other idea I said yesterday is that we have 3 down, and this is 1, 2, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 3. So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. So 3 down, 3 up, and then we can either get a running flat, a regular flat, or an expanded flat. So that's really it right there. So there's your 3-way move, just like that. Boom. So which one's it going to be? Well, again, you don't really know unless you're looking at the smaller time frames and you're tracking all of these waves. The way it looks, like last night, I was leaning more on the fence of that. But today, I'm kind of leaning more on the fence of maybe this thing's got a, you know, it's creeping and creeping and creeping, and then it finally just breaks out. So yeah, it's really one of those two options. And the real answer is going to be on the small time frames, because I mean, the way I see it, I only have 3 waves: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like it needs to come up and finish the 5th, right? So that's what I got for us on Bitcoin. Targets. Let's take a look at a couple targets here. I'm just going to do a regular retracement from here down to there. You're looking at 97 up to 103. So, but we just got to be, you got to be a little bit careful, because it looks still very corrective. The way this is moving up, you know, it just, you know, it looks corrective. So coming back down here and a running flat wouldn't be such a bad thing. All right. So anyways, let's look at Let's look at Theta now. So Theta broke above our swing high, right? We had a daily close, which was 2 days ago, above that swing high, and now we're simply, you saw the doji here, we're consolidating. So I feel like this needs to flag out a little bit and then continue higher, just like we've been talking about. On the 4 hour, I mean, you can see like we move up 1, 2, 3, pull back. 1, 2, 3, maybe we pull back, right? But I really would like to see 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, but the good thing is we're moving up impulsively and we're flagging out. We're moving up impulsively and then we're flagging out. Look at that. It looks still very good. So, yeah, there's not really much to say about Theta except let it continue its correction, and then before we know it, it should be on its way. Let's see, the smaller time frames, we have a nice looking three-way move here. We got 3 down, right? And we got, actually, let me see that again. It's kind of a weird looking flat, and then you got 3, and then you have 3. So boom, 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 boom. A, B, C. One, 2, and then we got 3, and then we got 4, and that looks like 5. So that looks like a finished C wave. And then we have a little bit of an impulse, so let's get a little bit of a pullback. Maybe that might be a good little spot to snag a little bit. Not financial advice. So, but for me, I think if we get a little bit of a three-way pullback, maybe I might add a little bit to it. And then let's get a retrace. So that's one idea. The other idea is that we have 3 down. Let's get 3 up and then 3 back down and then go. A bigger 3-wave correction. So that's really just about it for Theta. If I do a little bit of a measurement here from the bottom to the top, back down to the bottom. I mean, we haven't even hit the 1-to-1 yet, which is at $2. So I'm looking at, if this extension, if this is a 1, 2, you know what? I just thought of something else. What if, okay, let me zoom out a little bit. What if this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, guys? Right? So here's your first wave. Here's your wave 2. And then you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and you're about to rip up into the third. And then you get 4, 5, 4, 5, something like that. And that is your third wave. Right around that $3 area. I like that. I think that works. Because I'm looking at this 1, 2, 1, 2. The third just doesn't look proportional to me. So if I take a trend-based fib extension from here down to here, you can see we didn't even hit the 1618. We barely hit the we hit the 1-to-1, right? A little bit beyond that. So it's actually the 1.272. I think that's what we hit. But that's really not the characteristics of a third wave, unless it's a 1-2-1-2, right? And if it is, then you kind of want to see it maybe hit the low one more time and then get up here. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll track it. But for the most part, we're building our base. right? Obviously we broke it, and now we just need to confirm the break by either back testing it or consolidating above it, and then have another markup. So we'll see how it plays. All right, let's keep moving here. You know, same thing with Litecoin. You have this beautiful three-way pullback. You have an impulse to the upside. I want to see it flag out in here. That would be your wave 1. That would be your wave 2. And then we can get that big wave 3 coming soon. I don't think it's quite there yet. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Litecoin. Render. You got to be a little bit careful here because, you know, we have 3. This could be a flat. If it comes up and it hits a flat, then a lot of times you got to come back at least 50% of the wave, right? So if you take this whole wave here and you cut it in half, 50%, that's about where it could pull back to, which is that's a pretty gnarly move. And not just for Render, but for a lot of them. That would be another 25% move to the downside. Sheeb doesn't look like that. It looks more like 5 waves, more like a diag in a way. ICP still in its base. Kind of broke it a little bit, but still needs some work. Axelar. I have A, B, let's get C. Something like that, and then go. I'm just kind of scouting through a few of them. Same thing with Near, right? You had 3 up, 3 down, and you just fired like a rocket ship way up to the top. A lot of times when you do that, you stall momentum, and then you sort of have to flag out for a little while before continuing, right? But if we don't get the flag and we have something more impulsive, then it could be like a 50% retrace, or even worse, it could be a flat, which would signal maybe we have to break the low, which would be just terrible. So hopefully that's not the case. Bohm's just kind of chilling. You know, all season, you got to understand, all season is still not even here, right? We still have Bitcoin dominance relatively high. It's still early, so there's no need to be in a rush. We still got plenty of time. All right, so I think this is just consolidating in here before we move higher. For example, like if you go to XRP and you throw up Bitcoin, right, you can see like the big move that happened with XRP, and it didn't even go on a bull run, was right here. That was the big move for Bitcoin or XRP, when we went from like less than, it was like 55 cents all the way up to $2, right? But look where Bitcoin was. Bitcoin had already topped. So if we can relate to where Bitcoin is now, Bitcoin's probably like right in here, right? Which is the equivalent of XRP being like right in here. Like, for example, how Theta built its little base, it broke out and now it's like right here. So maybe it needs to get a little bit higher, come down, go into some reaccumulation, and then finally have that breakout move. So if I were to guesstimate, right? Obviously I can't really draw up there. It doesn't let me bring the chart down, but you know, once we start leveling off here, that's when we're going to see altcoins really start to catch up. So I took a couple screenshots of BCB's video he put out today, and he made some good points. You can see total is right at the all-time high. I wasn't looking at that, but that's interesting to know. So we haven't really expanded yet in the crypto market cap unless this thing breaks $3 trillion, right? And you know, stable coins too have a lot of effect on it. I would like to see the total market cap minus stable coins and then see how it relates. But yeah, we haven't even expanded properly yet. So another chart here is an 88 fractal. I thought it was really very nice, right? And that goes with what we were saying in regards to the W pattern that Ethereum made back in 2019, right? So yeah, very explosive moves on the horizon if that's the case. And then here's the fractal of, I think this is the inversed, or no, this is the run up and what Bitcoin did back in the day before it's finally topped. So basically it did the same thing. So maybe Bitcoin kind of chills out a little bit and then it hits the top, comes down, and then it starts doing this stuff. And that's when we can see Theta going and XRP going and all of them just ripping when we get more towards this area, which is the equivalent of Bitcoin being right here, right? And remember, that's where Theta, so Bitcoin right now is kind of like right here. So if we were to just take a bars pattern, just to give us an idea of what it could look like over the next several months, and just from a time perspective, just so we can visualize it a little bit, I don't know, like something like that. And even that would get us up to 140K, which is still pretty nice. Okay, so then we put, like, for example, Theta up, right? And remember, we go back in time. Look where Theta, not just Theta, but many other coins. Here's Theta right here, right? That's when Theta really exploded like never before, is right there. But look where Bitcoin was. Bitcoin had already topped. It was already done, right? So that's what I'm saying, you know? So we still got plenty of time here. I mean, not too much time. We kind of wanted to get a move on. We really want to get through these retracement levels. Once we get through this, I'll feel a lot better. But yeah, if we keep pushing up here and then kind of going sideways, pushing up, kind of going sideways, and then once we get up here, I think it's kind of like off to the races, or at least we can only suspect based off what happened before, right? So we're sitting at $94,000. Man, that's quite a move for Bitcoin. 94,000. So anyways, I think that'll do it for this video. Maybe look at a couple other ones. Theta, I mean, it's not really interesting. It's still consolidating. You know, I still like the move. We got an impulse and we got a three-way pullback. That's a 1, that's a 2. This is a 1, and then maybe we have an ABC for a 2. Look at that. Look at that. Right? And this is a 1 of the third, and that's 2 of the third. And that's an ABC. Maybe the C has to go a little bit further, and then we break out. And that would be the third of the third. All right, so 1, 2, and then we go all the way up in 3. You see what I mean? So this is a 1, ABC for a 2, right? That's kind of how I'm looking at it. So we'll see how it all plays out. I haven't gotten to the comment section of the last several videos, so bear with me. I'll definitely get to it. And anyways, appreciate everybody for tuning in. And hey, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.